Essentially, at the U.S. border, people can be detained, whether they be undocumented immigrants, green card holders, or U.S. citizens, and they are required to give a DNA sample to U.S. officials. It doesn't matter why they decided to detain you. Either you give them a DNA sample or you have committed a crime. It's already started at the U.S.-Canada border and at Eagle Pass in Texas, set to go national in 90 days.
Customs and Border Protection will begin collecting DNA from any person in CBP custody who is subject to fingerprinting. This will include aliens as well as United States citizens and lawful permanent residents.
Now, back in November, it was announced that immigrants at the border might be required to give their DNA. There was massive outrage, ethical and privacy concerns, but that's so last year, right? Now, just a few months later, it's on the books.
The federal government is now forcing some migrants in custody to give DNA samples.
There are already plans to implement the program at U.S. borders with Mexico and Canada. The data will go into a massive criminal database run by the FBI.
There have been some livid reactions to the U.S. government's decision online.
DNA collection at the U.S. border and in immigration detention. The human rights implications of this are astounding.
I think every member of Congress should go through this dehumanizing act of submitting their DNA. The way we're treating immigrants, especially children, is disgusting and hurts all of us.
This type of DNA data collection is completely unjustified and can have harmful and long-lasting consequences. It could lead to the start of a de facto national DNA database, full of DNA data from all individuals who live or traverse in the US, including US citizens.
The argument is that in this world where fakery and fraud are so widespread, the US government needs to keep track of one thing that we cannot fake, our genetic code. It's all about keeping us safe, right? Well, some people don't buy it.
Violation of civil liberties, it's a terrifyingly Orwellian vision of a future that many of us want to avoid as much as possible. This is really terrifying because unlike a lot of those other programs, which are voluntary, this one is targeted at the most vulnerable people in our society, people who are refugees and migrants, and they're being placed into a DNA database. Although you could see this as being something that would be useful for law enforcement, the price that we're going to pay in terms of increased authoritarianism is so much higher that I don't think it's worth it.
Since the Cold War, right up to today, the American government has been warning people about totalitarianism and Big Brother crushing the individual rights of the little guy. And countries have faced sanctions and even invasions to supposedly protect them from totalitarian regimes. But now the U.S. government is keeping a directory and tracking millions of people's DNA. Nothing to see here, folks. Just keep moving. Caleb Maupin, RT, New York.